Welcome to wisdom in life. The truth most men miss. Let me slow it down for you because this isn't something you rush. When a woman truly starts to feel something for you, it's not fireworks or some dramatic scene like in a movie. It's quiet, it's consistent, and it's intentional. She won't say, "I like you," because that's not how most women move when something real is forming. What she will do is start shifting her world in your direction, little by little, softly, carefully. You'll notice it in the pauses when you speak. She listens like your words actually mean something. You'll feel it in her presence, how she doesn't just exist around you. She becomes more there. Not every smile is flirtation. Not every text means she's interested. But when a woman genuinely likes you, there's a softness that shows up in how she treats you. A care, a warmth, a presence. It's in the way she asks how you've been. Not just to fill space, but because she truly wants to know. It's how she remembers the small random thing you said weeks ago, something you forgot. But she didn't. Because real feelings don't always arrive loudly. They arrive gently, and most men miss it because they're chasing louder women, more obvious signs. But the truth is, the woman who truly likes you isn't trying to impress. She's trying to feel safe. That's why you can't meet her softness with pressure. You can't respond to her openness by jumping too fast. You don't win her heart by showing off. You win it by showing up, calm, steady, and real. This isn't about games. This is about noticing the unspoken. The way her energy changes when you enter a room. The way she shares more of her story, piece by piece, like she's handing you a fragile part of her and watching what you do with it. It's not a performance. It's not a test. It's her way of saying, "I see you. Do you see me too?" But only if you're present enough to see it. Only if you've done the work to stay grounded and not let your ego rush ahead. So stop overthinking every moment. Stop searching for a sign so loud it knocks you over, because the signs are already there. They're quiet, but they're clear. And once you notice them, you'll never see women the same way again. Let's keep going, because this truth, it's just getting started. Signal 1. Her eyes look for you even when you're not talking. Let's sit with this for a moment, because this signal is so quiet, so subtle, that if you're not paying real attention, you'll miss it. Not because she's trying to hide it, but because real feelings rarely show up loud. They arrive slowly, wrapped in moments that feel small, but carry something real. She could be across the room with friends in her own world, and yet somehow her eyes still look for you. Not like she's scanning the room on purpose, but like her attention naturally falls your way. It's not obsessive, it's not dramatic, it's just gentle, but it happens enough to feel intentional. She may be mid-conversation, laughing at someone else's joke, and for just a second, she glances toward you, not to get your attention, not to flirt, just to check, just to see you. Her body doesn't even move, but her focus shifts, her energy adjusts, and if you're in tune, you'll feel it before you even notice it. That glance, it's not empty. There's something in it. A softness, a warmth, a message without words. You feel it in your gut, like your name was just whispered across the room. And if she's really into you, you'll start to see more than just the look. You'll see how her body reacts without her knowing. The way she sits up straighter when you walk in, the way she tucks her hair behind her ear, smooths her clothes, or fixes her posture. Not in an obvious performative way, but like she's suddenly more aware of herself in your presence. When you speak, she listens. Not the surface level kind of listening where someone just waits to talk, but the kind of listening where she's fully present. Her head tilts slightly. Her eyes stay with yours. Her face reacts to your tone. She's not just hearing your words. She's feeling them, reading between the lines, picking up on your energy, sensing the meaning behind what you say, and even what you don't. And there's something powerful that happens in those quiet exchanges. It's like time slows down. The room doesn't fade away, but your awareness of it does. There's this invisible thread between you and her, something magnetic. And it's not caused by a pickup line or clever joke. It's caused by presence, by attention, by energy. You'll notice how the air feels different when her eyes are on you, how you feel just a little more grounded, a little more seen. It's not something you can explain easily, but you know it when it happens, you feel it. And yet, here's where most men go wrong. They notice that look and mistake it for a green light. To perform, to impress, to chase. But what they don't realize is that the power of that moment was in its stillness. Not in what they were supposed to do, but in what they were supposed to feel. When she looks at you like that, she's not asking you to prove anything. She's offering a moment of openness, of connection. It's not a challenge, it's an invitation, one that only a steady man will recognize for what it is. Because if you react too fast, try to turn it into a game or a statement, you lose it. You break the moment. You turn something sacred into something ordinary. But if you meet her gaze and simply stay there, calm, grounded, unshaken, you give her the answer she was hoping for, that you see her, that you notice the signal, that you understand the language that doesn't need sound. You don't have to do anything loud. You don't have to speak. Just be there. Just let your eyes say it back. Let her know that whatever just passed between you, it wasn't one-sided, because her eyes more than anything else will show you where her heart is leaning. They'll tell you before her lips ever will. And only the man who's mastered stillness, who's moved past the need for attention and ego, only he will recognize that truth when it arrives. So, if you ever feel that shift, that flicker, that glance that lingers, just a heartbeat too long, don't dismiss it, don't ruin it, just feel it. Because that may be the beginning of something that words alone could never say. Signal 2. She finds reasons to be in your orbit. She's not going to stand in front of you and declare, "I want to be around you." She won't text you with a clear confession or show up holding a sign that says, "I like you." That's not how real feminine interest works. See, when a woman truly feels something for you, she doesn't chase, she orbits. She drifts closer slowly, subtly, like the way gravity pulls things into motion without making a sound. At first, you think it's coincidence. She's just showing up at the same place, just replying at the right moment, just asking questions that somehow relate to things you've only mentioned once. But after a while, it stops feeling random. You start noticing the patterns. She starts showing up where you are not, because she's tracking you, but because her heart is. You're at a gathering you didn't expect to see her at, and there she is smiling. Like, it's just luck. You casually mention a favourite restaurant, and a week later, she tells you she was just there and thought of you. You share a song that meant something to you, and she sends one back. Not just any song, but one that feels like you. It's not a test. It's not a move. It's alignment. A quiet way of saying you're in my mind, even when I don't say it out loud. And it's not just the big things she remembers. It's the small, strange, easily forgotten details that somehow stuck with her. That random snack you said you always get after a long day. That childhood story you told once while laughing. The phrase you say when you're deep in thought. She stores those things like they matter, because to her, they do. Not because she's trying to impress you, not because she's keeping score, but because she values you already before the label, before the commitment, before the certainty. She doesn't push, she doesn't beg for attention. She just stays close enough to feel familiar, but far enough to never overwhelm you. She lets you breathe, but when you do, she's the air that feels the most familiar. This is the kind of woman most men never notice because they're too busy looking for a chase, for fire, for noise. They don't realize that real connection doesn't show up with flashing lights. It shows up in consistency. It shows up in presence, in thoughtfulness, in how often she circles back to you, even when she has every reason not to. She'll find ways to start conversations without ever making it obvious. She'll ask how your day was, not to fill space, but because she genuinely wants to know. She'll bring up something you once mentioned. Not to make a point, but to remind you that you were heard. She doesn't need to insert herself into your life forcefully. She blends into it. She flows where you flow, and over time you'll start to feel it. Her rhythm becomes part of yours. Her timing starts to match yours, and the peace you feel when she's around. That's not an accident. That's emotional safety. That's presence. That doesn't demand. It just gives. She's not chasing a title. She's not asking for promises. She's just making room for you in her schedule, in her thoughts, in her day. And if you're aware, if you've done the work to stay grounded, you'll realize something powerful. She's already chosen you in the quietest way possible. Not through pressure, not through performance, but through presence. Because when a woman finds value in you, she won't scream it from the rooftops. She'll just keep showing up. Softly, steadily, again and again, until one day, you're not wondering if she likes you anymore. You're wondering how you ever felt calm without her. And that's how you'll know she didn't just visit your life, she became a part of it. Signal 3. She softens around you. Every woman carries a world inside her that no one ever fully sees. And not because she wants to keep it hidden, but because life taught her that showing too much of it gets her judged, misunderstood, or left. She didn't wake up one day and decide to build walls. She learned to through betrayal, through silence, through being told she was too sensitive, too needy, too complicated. So she adjusted, she armored up, she taught herself how to smile through discomfort, how to nod politely when something hurt, how to keep the most honest parts of her story locked away when no one could misuse them. Over time, she became skilled at moving through life without being fully seen. She became someone people admired but never truly knew. Strong, composed, unshakable on the outside, but on the inside, quietly exhausted from holding so much alone. And then one day, she meets someone whose presence feels different, not louder, not smoother, just safer. Something about you makes her breathe easier, not because of what you say, but because of what you don't demand. You don't try to impress her, you don't try to fix her, you don't try to rush past her. Quiet. You just hold space, and that space, it does something to her. She starts to soften, not in a forced, performative way, but in the way a tense body relaxes once it knows it's no longer in danger. She might begin by telling you a simple story, something personal but not too deep. A small window into her past. And then she waits. Not for praise, not for pity, just to see if your energy changes, just to see if she can stay open or if she needs to close again. If you meet her softness with steadiness, if you hear her without interrupting, without analysing, without shrinking from her depth, she'll take another step forward. She'll let you see a little more. Her voice becomes more real. Her words come slower, more thoughtful. Her laughter becomes unguarded, not performed for effect, but rising from a place that hasn't felt light in a long time. And when she's angry or sad or afraid, she doesn't hide it anymore, not because she's testing you, but because something in her finally believes you can handle it. You can handle her. You'll notice her showing up differently, not polished, not perfect, just present. She might cry in front of you for the first time and apologize for it. Not because she thinks crying is wrong, but because she's not used to being allowed to feel without being judged. She might go quiet some days, not pulling away, just trusting that you won't punish her for needing space, and the more safe she feels, the more she'll bring. Her dreams, her insecurities, her childhood wounds, her hopes, her everything. But don't mistake this for weakness. What she's doing takes courage, because after all the times she was punished for being too much, she's choosing to believe that maybe this time she won't have to shrink, and that's the most sacred version of her you'll ever see, not the version dressed up for the world, but the one who finally feels like she can put it all down, her armour, her smile, her defences. That moment, that quiet unfolding of who she really is, it's not a challenge, it's a gift. Most men rush to fix it or pull away from it or misread it as drama. But the rare man, the grounded one, the patient one, he knows this is the moment to lean in, not back, not to talk, not to teach, just to be still, to be safe. Because if you become the place where she feels seen without needing to perform, if she can fall apart a little in your presence and know she'll still be held in your eyes, the same way she will never forget you. Not for a moment, not in this lifetime. You won't just be someone she once talked to. You'll be the moment she finally felt like she didn't have to carry the whole world by herself. And for a woman who spent years learning how to survive behind a shield, that kind of safety, that kind of space that becomes home, the quiet test most miss. Here's the part that almost every man misses. Not because he's foolish, not because he lacks heart, but because he's never been taught to slow down and feel. We live in a world that tells men to chase, to prove, to perform. Get the number, get the answer, get the yes, be bold, be loud, be unforgettable. And in doing all that, they overlook the kind of woman who is quietly inviting them in, not with words, but with presence. The women with depth, the ones with emotional maturity, with kindness, with soul. They don't throw themselves at you. They don't announce their feelings with flashing signs. They don't compete for attention. They pay attention. They stay close in small ways. They give gently. They reveal themselves slowly only when they feel safe. And if you're rushing through life, needing fast answers and obvious signs, you'll never notice her. You'll walk right past the real thing, searching for noise while the truth sat quietly in the corner, hoping you'd look twice. She won't say, "I like you, please respond." She'll say it in how she asks about your day and actually listens. She'll say it in how she remembers something small you said 2 weeks ago. She'll say it by showing up not loudly, not dramatically, but consistently. And if you're calm enough to see her, you'll realise she's been giving you little green lights the entire time. But here's what most men do instead. They doubt it, they question it, they panic, they overthink it. And in that panic, they either rush to define it or pull away before it can deepen. All because they were never taught how to trust stillness. They think if she's not flirting hard, chasing back, or saying all the right things, then it's not real. But the truth is, the women worth loving, they speak with their energy before they ever use their words. And only the man who is steady, who doesn't need noise to feel seen, will ever hear them. You don't need to be a performer. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to impress her with words or force the connection to move faster. You just need to be awake. The kind of man who notices the way her voice softens when she speaks to you. The way she opens up and then goes quiet. Not because she's unsure, but because she's vulnerable. The way she starts including you in little parts of her world just to see if you'll stay. That's how women love, they invite. And the invitation is always silent. So the question is, can you hear the silence? Can you sit with it long enough to feel what's being offered? Because if she feels safe with you, if she feels seen by you, if she feels she doesn't need to perform around you, she'll give you more of herself than you've ever experienced. But she'll only give it to the man who doesn't interrupt her softness with ego, who doesn't treat her opening up like an opportunity to conquer, who doesn't ruin her calm with his need to control the pace. Be that man, the man who listens more than he speaks, who notices more than he asks, who holds more than he grabs. Because once you see it, once you really see what she's been quietly giving you, you'll realize you never needed to chase, you just needed to slow down and receive. If something inside you went still, reading this, if your chest got quiet, even for a second comment below, I see it. Let that be your shift. Let that be the moment you stop guessing and start noticing. Subscribe to the Stoic journals. This journey is far from over. Stay grounded, stay silent, stay sharp. Until next.